Hey, dude, you ready to do this week's podcast?
Yeah, I'm ready. You don't sound very ready though.
I mean, did you catch last week's episode, the finished product? I mean, I was trying to tell this like amazing story about what happened Friday night, and it was the wildest thing that had ever happened to me. And the freaking production truck cues commercial break. We go picture in picture, and no one gets to hear the most incredible story of my life. I mean, I was really upset about it. I'm still kind of upset about it. And yeah, but I mean, whatever. Why don't we just get going into this week's podcast?
No. I think you should tell the story again.
I mean, I don't see why not. Right? All right, well, let's hear the story once again. So me and the boys are heading out.
Get up! Help! I've bumped and I can't feed!
That's when I realized I needed Bump Alert. Bump Alert is your personal notification system that you carry with you for your protection. With one push of the button, you can notify your doctor, your tag team partner, or even your promoter if you want to discuss creative and that you need a win. So don't let an injury turn your comeback into the finish. Get Bump Alert today.
If you're over the age of 50, call now for information on Bump Alert. 1-866-BUMP-ALERT. That's 1-866-BUMP-ALERT. And if you're hard of hearing, that's 1-866-BUMP-ALERT. And if you haven't been paying attention, that's 1-866-BUMP-ALERT. Call today.
I mean, I can't believe they did it to me again. Who is running the production of this show?
Dude, isn't that you?
Oh, yeah. You're right. Cue the intro.
The following presentation has been brought to you by HSF Productions.
The Impromptu Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Jeff and David.
Hey guys, welcome back to IWP, the Impromptu Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Tally006. Over to my left, as always, is my brother Damien. How's it going this week?
It is going really well. How are you, man?
Well, I mean, besides the production fumble there, I'm doing okay. It was a good week.
I get fired.
No, I might have to fire myself, but no, it's been a good week. It's been cooling down. You know, August was really hot this year, so it's cooling down. But enjoying that. But we got a big show as always. We got some Breaking Kayfabe, Scoop of Vanilla. They seem to be regular installments nowadays. I think I'm trying to pay a little bit more attention to the world of wrestling outside of the show that we actually watch, so we have some stuff to talk about all the time. But so we got some Breaking Kayfabe, Scoop of Vanilla, BTE, AEW Dark, and Thursday Night Dynamite. Why don't we get right into it?
Do it.
All right, so big news. I think this is really big news. Every year, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they do a top 500 every year, and it's this like standalone issue. It's the most popular issue of the year. And I don't know if you listen to the Talk is Jericho podcast where they have like the editor of Pro Wrestling Insider or Illustrated. I can't even remember what his name is, but he talks about like what they go through to put this list together every year. They tally wins, losses, caliber of opponents, pay-per-views, live shows. Like, it's crazy how much work they put into this. And to think of all the pro wrestlers out there, when you get deep into the 400s, you're like, who? You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and if you don't work enough, you don't get in the list. So like notable omissions from last year is Chris Jericho and Brock Lesnar. And they were probably two of the hottest, things coming out of 2018, but they didn't wrestle enough, so they didn't make the list. So pretty interesting stuff. But to get to the cut right to the chase here, I'm having a hard time talking today. It's going to be a long one.
You're still upset about that.
I mean, Christopher Daniels bumping. Don't even get me started. To cut right to the chase, Pro Wrestling Illustrated best wrestler, number one wrestler of 2019 was Jon Moxley, the AEW World Champion. What are your thoughts on Jon Moxley getting the top spot this year?
I mean, I think it's deserved. He is the pinnacle of AEW. He's their main guy. He's the biggest draw. He was the hottest free agent before he was signed. He's been killing it with the promos. He's had some good matches. I'm not going to say all of his matches were super stellar, but I don't think he's missed a promo. His last one this week, which we'll talk about, was, one of his finest, even though he didn't even say a lot. It's hard for me to say as well, because I haven't seen the whole list or been watching enough of the other motions. Hey, maybe he could have been second, but he didn't suck.
That's for sure.
So I think it's well done.
When we heard this announcement first, it was during Dynamite this week. This is kind of where it popped out. I think it broke a little bit earlier in the week, but this is where I first heard it. And it did kind of take me back for a surprise, because Moxley didn't wrestle the whole year. And like I mentioned earlier, like, they take into account how much you wrestle and who you're wrestling and stuff like that. And Moxley was off with that staph infection for, a few months. Now, it should be noted that, like, tallying and point scoring starts, like, today. As soon as the issue comes out and it's hit the presses, the new year starts. And Moxley was gone from end of July. He misses All Out, was supposed to wrestle Kenny Omega, had to miss All Out. We didn't see him again until Dynamite started. And then did we even see him at Full Gear? I guess Full Gear was the makeup match against Omega in that crazy death match that they had, right? So, like, he missed 3 months of wrestling.
Doesn't that say even more about him?
Well, that's just it. That like, my initial thought was like, holy shit, like, but yeah, totally. I completely agree with it. It's awesome. It's an awesome, it's awesome promotion for AEW. I think it'll bring some more eyes to the product, which is always good. And there's another notch on the belt, another hook on the hat rack to hang another hat on. That sounded weird. But for Moxley, so, congratulations to Jon Moxley for getting number one. I'm pumped.
It sounded like a lot of AEW wrestlers moved up from the previous year. I seen a lot of the wrestlers tweeting about, I was this number last year and now I'm this number. So that's, a testament to probably the training that they're getting, having more airtime,
exposure,
matches as well. So I think it's just going to get better.
Yeah, big stuff. So interestingly enough, our next item on the bid, number 2, Adam Cole. Now, hearing that and the year Adam Cole had, He had the NXT championship for this entire run of, score tallying and stuff like that. What do you think of, do you feel like maybe Adam Cole should have been number 1, Jon Moxley number 2, or do you think Adam Cole fits right in here at number 2?
Again, without knowing like all of the matches and whatnot, he definitely has the skills to be number 1. I think the Pat McAfee match proves that he's a superstar. He's a professional. He can make matches that otherwise, if you had somebody else in there, it might not look good.
Right.
So yeah, we'd have to go and look through Adam's matches to see, what he did. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll throw this argument out for Adam Cole being number 1. You said it. Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. Maybe it didn't count towards this year. Maybe the cutoff had already happened. But Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee, Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager. Jake Hager's a professional wrestler. And that match was, we buried it enough on the show here. So, for the argument of Adam Cole, like you said, like he can make anybody look really, really good. And that's a true statement for a professional wrestler. So, I don't know. I'm glad Jon Moxley was number 1. I think it's awesome.
Well, you know what? I wonder, Pat McAfee said that Adam Cole couldn't do without his buddies. So maybe they take that into account.
They probably do. And we know Jon Moxley is a lone wolf. So Adam Cole took to Twitter. Number 2, huh? All right, see you soon, 2021. So it looks like Adam Cole's got a little bit of motivation going into this upcoming year's, Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500. He's gunning for that number 1 spot. Big news. But let's quickly run through the entire top 10. We won't go through the whole 500 list. If you guys really wanted us to do that, leave it in the comments below. Maybe we'll think about doing a special show where we kind of go through even the top 100 and we can talk about all the wrestlers, because there's a pretty good chance we would know everybody in the top 100 or top 50. But let us know in the comments below if you'd like to see some content like that. But for now, let's look at the top 10. Of course, we have AEW champion Jon Moxley, Adam Cole number 2, Chris Jericho making it back on the list at number 3. Wow. But he had a huge year. He basically built the AEW, and he'll tell you how he did it.
And he wrestled through the pandemic. Yeah.
Number 4, Drew McIntyre, current WWE champion. Good for him. I'm pretty sure he might have been pretty deep in the list last year, being that he wasn't in, I guess he was NXT last year. Never mind.
What a turnaround for that guy, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Number 5, Tetsuya Naito. I can't say that name. You think you have bad Japanese names? Tetsuya Naito, but you know who we're talking about. Number 6, Okada. I'm not even going to attempt to say Kazuchika. Oh, shit, I just did. Number 7, Cody. Another AEW. So we got 3 AEW wrestlers in the top 10. Number 8, Seth Rollins. Last year's number 1. So kind of a big dip for Seth. Number 9, Kofi Kingston. This is coming off of Kofi Mania, I believe, would have been part of this. And number 10, AJ Styles. AJ Styles is pretty much a lock for the top 10 every year, but he rounds out the top 10. Any surprises there? Any omissions that you thought maybe should be in the top 10 off the top of your head?
I wonder where Becky Lynch is.
The women have their own list.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah.
So she probably tops on that list.
She's probably, I think she was last year too. Last year was the first year they did it. Or no, this year was the first year they were doing it. if I remember correctly.
What do you? Oh, okay.
So this magazine that just came out with John Moxley #1, this might be the first time they were doing a women's list, because I have last year's magazine and I don't think it's in there. So they might have been starting to tally for a women's list. So yeah,
Right.
We'll have to check that out.
I can't think of anybody. Next year will be interesting, I think.
Yeah.
You know, because there was a lot of shakeup at the end of this year. You know, I'm thinking like EC3 and, you know, guys like that, and see what kind of year they have, and then see where the chips fall.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of cool to take a step back from watching the shows and kind of really think about who has the biggest impact on the industry. I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this year shapes up with everybody landing, you know, where they need to be in a way. So I'm surprised no Omega, but I think Omega might have been, I'm pretty sure Omega was in the top 10, but he didn't really wrestle a lot this year besides once Dynamite started, right? So
right. And
he lost.
He wasn't in really any big matches. He had like a few moments, but
right.
I guess he's, well, the tag team match of the century, but
yeah, for sure.
One match.
All right, well, good stuff. Again, we'll continue to look at see where the women's list landed. That'd be interesting to see where Becky Lynch landed, because she had a gigantic year. And again, if you guys want to see like a full comprehensive list and us go through maybe the top 50 or top 100, leave it in the comments below and we'll talk about maybe doing some extra content there. But let's get right into Scoop of Vanilla. So an interesting fact came out this week. A Reddit user kind of took the time to time out how much actual professional wrestling, bell to bell, takes place on a weekly wrestling show. And the numbers are quite surprising, to say the least. So the big contrast that everybody's focusing in on is AEW versus Raw. They don't go head to head, but I mean flagship show versus flagship show, you could say, right? So as you guys can see on the screen here, we're referring to the week before, not the week we're reviewing now, but the week before. Last week's episode of Raw had less than 25 minutes of actual wrestling on a 3-hour show. That is insanity.
That is a South Park wrestling show right there.
Yeah, good call. So this is in comparison to AEW Dynamite, which had 59 minutes in a 2-hour show. So that's 50% wrestling versus, I can't even do the math. That's got to be 10%, 15%, 25 of 3 hours. You guys can do the math at home. It also came out that I believe SmackDown's show that week was 29 minutes. But I believe that SmackDown's only a 2-hour show as well. So, I mean, that's really interesting to see. I mean, we've talked about it, last year when we were watching the Vanilla brand quite religiously every week. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of wrestling. They like to do their backstage spots. Very much the soap opera aspect is kind of the priority for the Vanilla brand. What are your thoughts on the numbers?
Yeah, like you said, I think we already had an idea that there just wasn't enough wrestling in that 3-hour time. It is kind of shocking how little it actually is, though, once you time it out. I feel like, if I remember correctly, when we watched it, there's a lot of replaying what's happened in the storylines. I'd like somebody to time those out, because I think that is a huge part. So I think you need the promos, you need the interviews, like that's wrestling through and through. But the showing us a video package of what's happened the last month in the storyline and doing it week after week, I'm not sure that that's quite needed.
But it's even within the show. Because even, in the second hour and even going into the last segment, the main event segment, they're constantly replaying what happened in the first segment of the show.
Right.
We have to watch that 4 times every 20 minutes, so that's a good point. I'd be really interested in to see how much recap is being played throughout that 3 hours, because I bet it's more than the wrestling. Figure it out, Vanilla Brand. All right, sticking to some vanilla news, kind of big news that popped up. WWE really revamped their stage design. They moved out of the Performance Center. They cut a deal with the Amway Center, which is a stadium in Tampa Bay, I believe, or it might be Orlando. Don't quote me on that. One of those areas around there anyways. So they move into an arena and they fill it with hundreds of screens. And basically what you can do is you can pay, I'm sure it's an exorbitant amount of money. You get a special link and you can upload your camera and watch the show, live, if you will. The news that we're here to talk about, that's all good and great, but the news we're here to talk about is that people are not using it properly. There's always some bad seeds out there that want to troll, for, the lack of a better term. I mean, I guess that is the term nowadays. And I don't know, it's just, it's upsetting to see that people just can't sit there and watch some wrestling without having to cause an uproar. Now, we won't go into what was actually shown because there were some pretty, not cool things. I do have on the screen here that somebody put up an image of Chris Benoit. I mean, it's 14 years later. Everybody knows the story. I still think there's a place in history for Chris Benoit, despite of what he did. So I figured that was a safe one to put up on the screen. But what do you think of the Thunderdome in a whole as an idea? And is this something that they got to just do better screening of to make sure, or should WWE come after these people in some kind of legal way? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's very cool. Like when I watched a few of the matches at SummerSlam with all the screens, like that to me is cool. Give them all the props for that. Like, I'm sure it wasn't easy, and setting up all the technology to make that happen. To answer the lot of money.
Oh, I'm assuming all those LED screens, because they're not the highest definition quality screens. I think they're the same kind of technology that goes into the Titantrons and stuff like that. But I mean, that can't be cheap. Jesus, that's a lot of screens.
Yeah. I think the only sort of bad part that I saw there was the very first row. You actually couldn't see their faces; they were cut off by
the barricade.
So if you paid extra to be in that first row, that sucks for you, bro.
Yeah,
because that's bad.
Kool-Aid Man and Heyman guy, long hair, and his grandma. The tough noogies there.
Yep. But I think that they would be stupid to not have expected that they were going to have these types of issues, that people were going to troll or try to make some sort of statement. We kind of discussed the other day, some of the types of things that we've seen. I was expecting like more kind of nudity and that kind of stuff, but we're getting more serious types of like more offensive things. So I mean, I would think that they just have to put a user agreement, and if they don't follow the agreement, then they're subject to a lawsuit.
And at the moment, when they finally do kind of catch that something's amiss here, I noticed throughout SummerSlam that some of the screens were just getting blacked out. So
Okay.
that was just kind of the quick fix to, I mean, I guess that would still be the thing, you know, if you do something offensive, the black screen goes out. But I haven't heard of anybody being faced with any like legal issues because of this. But I think that's what they need to do, you know, by clicking accept, you know, you agree to these terms and you could face, you know, da-da-da-da-da. I think some of the, you know, taking this story and putting a positive spin on this, some people have used it to, you know, promote some of the, you know, the BLM movement and speaking out movement. Someone have just been kind of putting up signs or just a digital image of whatever they're trying to support. I'm cool with that kind of stuff. If you want to pay the money to get your voice out there and that's how you want to use it, that's totally cool. But some of these negative things that we were seeing, like why? I don't get it, but that's that. Let's move on to one more story. Again, some kind of tragic news here. This was about a week before SummerSlam. This is almost 2 weeks out that we never really got a chance to get around to talking to, but Sonya Deville was being harassed by a fan, if you want to call him that. Anybody who gets into this obsessive state, definitely not a fan. There's something else going on there. But this guy was stalking her, cyber stalking her, took it to the next level. She was home. He broke into the house, essentially, is how the story worked. And, you know, she had to flee for her life, basically. I think you were telling me that he might have had a knife and whatnot. And, you know, it was pretty serious stuff. He has been arrested since then. But the story doesn't end there. Sonya Deville is still getting threats from new people, you know, who are like blaming her for what's happening to this guy. You know what I mean? Which just boggles my mind. It's the same as the people on the Thunderdome. Like get your heads on straight. What did you think of this Sonya Deville story?
Yeah, I feel for her. I mean, she's not the first and probably won't be the last celebrity that has to go through something like this. I was quite shocked that it was her, only because of her MMA background and whatnot. And if you're gonna kind of assault a woman,
try to kidnap her, like
I would pick her. But I was more wondering, like, is this the reason why this match turned into a hair cutting match to
right?
You're gone from WWE. Is this her way to kind of get away from the spotlight and, you know, try to get this to blow over? Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it was. That's exactly why it was changed. People inside WWE have confirmed this, that Sonya Deville is taking time off, you know, just to, you know, reset. You know, I'm sure, I don't care who you are and how strong you are emotionally. That's a scary situation to have somebody break into your house with the intent to kidnap. You know, like, that's fucked up. And I'm sure she's going through some stuff right now, and she needs the time off. I mean, hats off, you know, to her for still working past that, getting through SummerSlam, putting Mandy over. You know, she still did the job. You know, I couldn't imagine anybody else being that strong to go through that all. Which, I mean, I just want to quickly add, you mentioned, like, this isn't the first time it's happened. It's not going to be the last. Like, this is the same kind of situation that we saw with Dimebag Darrell, John Lennon. Like, these are fans that just go to another place, and it's terrible to see. I'm glad she's okay and she survived and all that stuff. But this brings us to our next story. Oh, I don't know. I'm so mad right now. and it's not because of the production truck. that a-hole. I mean, we're on YouTube. I can swear that asshole. I'm gonna say his real name.
All right, do it.
Jim Cornette. After all of this, has the audacity to claim that Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose should be fired from WWE for breaking kayfabe because Mandy was at the house with Sonya when this kidnapping attempt happened. And, they're supposed to be in this blood feud on TV. And Jim Cornette's got his pitchforks and he's coming to pillage and protest that these girls should be fired for breaking kayfabe. Hey, Cornette, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice here. It's 2020. We know it's a work. We get it's a work. It's no different than watching Game of Thrones or Lucifer or whatever the hot TV show is right now. We get it. You need to get into this day and age and realize that kayfabe's dead. It's been dead for 30 years. Figure it out and get off your fucking horse. I'm fucking sick of you, bud. You're back to Corvette. What do you got to say?
I mean, then there's a lot of people that have to get fired.
Yeah.
Up, down, down.
Oh, God, that breaks kayfabe every day.
Exactly. So...
Xavier Woods, you're gone.
Yeah, Sheamus is where he exercises with everybody. Like, come on. Like,
it's so stupid.
I get that there are people who think that this is all real. But, like, do we have to dumb it down for everybody? Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid, and especially for this situation.
Right.
Where someone's life was in danger, and like it's not like they were advertising that they were hanging out in the same house or they're together. It's just an unfortunate sort of thing that happened that it kind of came out. Yeah, he's an idiot. We give him too much time on this show.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been almost putting him over with how much I'm trying to bury him, but don't listen to him, kids out there. Jim Cornette is not smart. Him and Vince, they need to go away. They're done. They don't know what's going on anymore. They don't get it. That's it. We're done. Let's move on. Let's get right into being the elite. The elite. What'd you think of this week's show? I thought it was a good one. Coming off of last week, it was really good. They're tying everything together. We're getting back into a groove of everything kind of making sense. It's been a long time coming. This was episode 218 and new TNT champion. We knew exactly what was going to go on in the opening segment of this one. But the show itself, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid show. There was a couple of segments that maybe were meh, but the ones that were good were really, really good. What was your favorite part of the show?
The main bits were the main bits, and the rest was just filler. Is kind of how I look at it, and all the main bits were really good. Maybe one exception was this Colt Cabana thing is kind of fallen off the rails a little bit, and it was unfortunate that we had to end the show with that. But I mean, they teased it last week. We had to get some kind of payoff, so it kind of all makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think they could have did that a little bit better. But honestly, my favorite part of this episode was the CD Christopher Daniels commercial.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how things were for you as a kid, but when I stayed home sick as a kid, I watched Price is Right. And I mean, I've seen the I've Fallen and I Can't Get Up commercial 100 times in that one commercial break. And you know, and he's playing off of this, you know, I bumped and I can't get up, you know, for the 50 plus. I believe this was the first mention, or no, this was the second mention of like, this is for the 50 plus people out there. So this is definitely playing off that situation that we saw a few episodes ago with Matt Jackson asking Christopher Daniels for help with the 50 plus demographic. And I mean, this commercial was so funny. I mean, you guys saw it at the beginning of the show, you know, because of the blunder and whatnot, but I freaking loved it. I loved it. I got to put it over. How about you? What stuck out for you?
I mean, always Dark Order.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm gonna pick an unlikely bit here. I actually really like the Hangman Kenny Omega running into Medusa in the hallway, and trying to avoid looking at her because they don't want to turn to stone. But then, of course, she says that she has some Jack Daniels, and Hangman can't, not look. And I thought I don't know. It wasn't a long bit. It wasn't. I think Kenny's the best part of that. Just him being Kenny. Yeah. I just thought it was funny.
A small little subtle thing in that segment is that Medusa grabs Hangman's belt. I can't remember if it was before or after he turned to stone. I think it was after. But she's standing there holding the belt, and there's a trash can behind her. And Medusa, formerly of WWF, known as Alondra Blaze, she's the one who came onto WCW with the WWF women's belt and threw it in the garbage can on Nitro. So,
oh my God, that makes so much more sense.
So now I'm waiting for her to throw the tag team belt in the garbage can, because then I would have popped hard. But I think it was just there for a tease, and I think it was purposely put there for that. But no, she hands it back off to Kenny, and Kenny's still trying not to make eye contact. And she goes off skipping, and she's like, "That was awesome. I was in BTE." And she's like super happy about it. So I thought the whole skit was just clever. It wasn't funny. I mean, it had its parts, but it was just clever. It was smart. And if you guys don't know who Medusa is, read a Greek mythology book. Go to school.
I know. You know what? When she did the whole garbage thing and then didn't put it in there, I knew there was something to that. It wasn't just a whatever.
Right.
But I didn't connect it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so glad we talked about it.
Sweet. And I mean, I guess we should mention the Dark Order bit. We should just explain. They're talking about, they got their millions and millions of dollars from the Chili's commercial payout. They're, celebrating the Brody Lee win on the TNT Championship. Brody Lee takes the time to talk to each and every one of them, and he wants to know what they're spending their money on, right? So everybody goes around the list. Reynolds spends it on tap dancing lessons because he wants to get better at tap dancing. Okay, we're not off to a strong start.
No one questioned that. They're just like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Uno bought a life-size cutout of Brody Lee. Like, could he suck any more ass right now? Like, Grayson was going to buy himself a Shelby Mustang. Number 10 is going to buy some guns, and everybody's like, whoa, dude. Are you sure? And he's like, guns, baby. And everybody's like, and they all pop it. Allin Angels, I thought this was clever. He bought some hair implants. I wonder if QT Marshall slipped him a card and he got a hold of a guy, maybe. And then we get to Silver. And he gets like super serious. And he's just like, I want to solve all the world's problems. And everybody's like, fucking Silver. He's like, psych, beers. And then we get to Brody, and let us know what Brody had to say there. I think you'll explain it better because I didn't even remember.
You know what? I don't have lawn, and I don't have a yard and all this, but I'm buying 6 riding lawnmowers from Home Depot. Now, I don't know exactly what's that supposed to be referencing. Is this something from before? Because then he's just like, fuck Hangman. And then they start, chanting, this. Right. And so I don't know what the lawnmowers have to do with Hangman per se. But we will revisit this at some point in the show.
I'm sure we will. I don't remember when maybe Hangman was doing the living out in the woods. Maybe he made a mention of something of that. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
If you guys know, leave it in the comments below. But yeah, it was a good episode of Being the Elite. I suggest everybody go check it out. All right, well, let's get right into AEW Dark. This was episode 48. Again, live from Daly's Place, August 25th, 2020. What did we have this week?
We had another super large AEW Dark.
This is the biggest one yet, I think. 13 matches.
Yeah, we didn't mention this on BTE, but the Young Bucks actually reference how huge these Dark shows are. If I haven't mentioned it yet, Veda Scott or Vita Scott, however she goes by there, she's on comms.
Veda.
I think she's awesome on the comms. I think she does a really great job with Tony and Taz. What do you think about Miss Scott there on the comms?
Yeah, she's been really good. I was a little undecided during the Tag Team Tournament Cup. I almost think like she was trying too hard, because this was kind of her audition, if you will. But getting some more chances here on Dark the last couple weeks has been really good. And yeah, I agree with you. I think she is very, very good at what she does. I think I had heard, or she mentioned some of those early episodes of the Tag Team Tournament that she does do commentary for, some indie promotions and stuff like that. So she definitely has the reps in, and it shows. So yeah.
Right.
Veda Scott is really good.
She's really sharp, and she can keep up with those guys. Yeah, so we had 13 matches. I'll go through them as quickly as I can. In the first match, we had a tag team match, Storm Thomas and Dimitri Jackson versus Best Friends. Best Friends going over in that one. In the second match, we had Jesse Sorensen versus Sean Spears. This was a very typical Sean Spears match, ended the exact same way that it always does. In match number 3, we see Red Velvet again. She's taking on Mel. Mel goes over in that one. In match number 4, we had D3 versus Lance Archer. And you could probably go to Vegas and bet money on what that match was going to be like. Yep. Obviously, Lance Archer goes over in that one. In match number 5, we had Luther and Serpentico versus The Initiative. Now, this was a match you messaged me about, and you're like, I wonder. I have a feeling like Initiative might take this.
I gave him a coin flip chance.
I mean, they're teasing it again, and if we look at what happened on BTE with, Brandon saying, dude, like, we don't have to cheat, and then Peter saying, you do what you want to do, but I want to win, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do in order to do it. So Avalon grabs the book, but he ends up hitting Cutler, and then they lose again.
Right. I like it. That's a good finish.
Yeah. In match number 6, we are seeing Nyla Rose. I feel like we haven't seen her for at least a good month. She was taking on Kylan King, who we've been gassing up, really liking Kylan. And Nyla Rose going over in this one. But after the match, Vicky grabs the mic and does a little bit of a promo and gives, I don't know if we can call them a faction, seeing as there's only one wrestler, but they're dubbing themselves the Vicious Vixens.
Interesting.
It's kind of new, and we should expect to hear that moniker as we continue on in the next few weeks.
For sure.
In match number 7, we had Frank Stone and Baron Black versus the Gun Club. I'm shocked at how much we're having to see the Gun Club. I guess this is getting reps for Austin Gunn. Billy Gunn being a coach, you wouldn't expect him to be seen so much, but they go over again in Dark. In match number 8, we had Heather Monroe versus Penelope Ford. Ford going over in that one. In match number 9, we had Proud and Powerful versus the Metro Brothers. So this is the first time I think we're seeing a jobber tag team in Dark. Did you see this match?
No, I didn't catch this one. And you just saying the Metro Brothers just like made me raise my eyebrows a little bit. I'm like, who would call themselves that? But no, definitely must be debuting.
Yeah, their shtick is kind of like they're the New York boys. They came out in, wife beater, white shirts and that kind of thing, and they looked very sort of Italian-ish, if I remember correctly. Pretty good match. You could tell that these guys are not newbies. They look like they have a lot of experience, so maybe we'll get to see these guys again. But after the match is, where things picked up, and we see Best Friends come out and attack Proud and Powerful, continuing that storyline of, Proud and Powerful wrecking Sue's minivan and that. Right. So I'm glad that they're moving these storylines in Dark. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, for sure.
In match number 10, we had Sean Dean versus Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks going over in this one. This was a pretty good match for Ricky Starks, and I caught on this broadcast that his finisher is called the Rochambeau. Had you caught this finisher name before?
I've heard them mention that before. I think even on the last time they attacked Darby on Dynamite, maybe Taz throws that out there, but I don't get it. It seems out of place. It's not a kick in the nuts, and there's nothing to do with rock, papers, or scissors. So yeah, I'm not really sure where this name came from, but
yeah,
maybe it's a Ricky Starks idea.
Yeah. In match number 11, we have Jake Hager versus Marco Stunt. I thought this was a really odd pairing here, and yeah, it was a pretty short match, but what it got was Jurassic Express came out. They begged Hager not to, sort of attack Marco after the fact, and of course Jake Hager didn't listen and kind of destroys Marco, and so I feel like there's going to be this feud between Luchasaurus and Jake Hager, possibly in the future because of all of this.
It makes sense. It's logical.
Yeah. In match number 12, we had Frankie Kazarian versus Kip Sabian. This was a really good match. Not who I thought would go over, actually. Yeah. Kazarian winning this match.
Wow.
In the main event, we had TH2, the Hybrid 2, versus Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. And yeah, this was a fantastic match. If you didn't watch this one, go give it a watch. Everybody delivers in this one. There was maybe one kind of mess up between Evans and Sonny Kiss, but other than that, really good main event for Dark.
Sweet. Yeah, I got to go back and finish watching that one. I think I got caught off in the middle of that one, but yeah, good stuff. Always entertaining stuff coming out of Dark. It's unfortunate. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's unfortunate that it's so long, but I do believe that they're trying to build Dark as a second show, so it makes sense that they're putting, an hour and a half of content out every week, but it's getting a little much, but we'll see. All right, let's move on. Let's get into this week's Power Rankings. August 26th, 2020. We had some changes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not a lot, but in the men's division, John Moxley still our champ going into All Out coming up very soon, but the new TNT champion Brody Lee. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna probably talk a little bit more about that later. So the number one contender still MJF. Lance Archer number 2. Cody drops to number 3, which drops Brian Cage down to number 4, and rounding of the top 5 is Scorpio Sky. In the women's division, absolutely no changes. Shida still our champ. Nyla Rose still the number 1 contender, followed by Big Swole, Penelope Ford, Abaddon, and Britt Baker.
How is Abaddon not higher yet? Oh, man.
Right. Pretty good record. And then in the tag team division, as we predicted last week, there was no changes because of the Gauntlet match that we were going to see on Dynamite. We kind of predicted that there was going to be no changes, or else that would just be weird. So Omega, Page still our champs. FTR the number 1 contenders, followed by Best Friends, Young Bucks, Natural Nightmares, and the Dark Order featuring Uno and Grayson.
Cool. Good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk a bit more about the rankings of the tag team division pretty soon here, as we jump right into Thursday Night Dynamite. I don't know why I said Dynamite, but it felt right. It felt right in my heart. This is August 27th, 2020, live from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. We mentioned this in Breaking Kayfabe last week, that this would be the first show since the pandemic started that we were going to have a live audience that wasn't just made up of crew, of other wrestlers not working that night. This was a live crowd. They sold tickets. People got to come and watch the show. They brought signs. They were cheering. And it was awesome. What did you think of having the crowd back? Like, it just turned everything up a little bit. I loved it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was quite like Jericho tweeted out that it was Madison Square Garden-esque, but it was a lot more noise. I was expecting there to be more people than what it seemed. The few shots they kind of pan to the audience, it really seems still pretty bare. But a good start. And they're following the rules, and that's just going to lead to, bigger and better things as they start maybe opening things up.
Yeah, for sure. There was some people in the crowd kind of took some screenshots of across the amphitheater. Everybody was very spread out. And I kind of noticed when they took some shots of the crowd, as the show was starting, it looked like there was a lot of people in that certain little section. But like I mentioned last week, like they were kind of taking groups of people and keeping them in like their pod, if you will. So maybe they went to one of the more denser little spots and got the camera in tight, so it looked like there was a lot of people. But definitely when the Twitter and the social media pictures started coming out, they were very, very spread out. And every time they showed the crowd on camera during the show, everybody had masks on. It looked like everything was being handled very, very well. And the crowd noise, it wasn't bolsterous and it wasn't overtaking, but it was still better than the fake crowd noise that Raw and SmackDown and SummerSlam were running. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, it's just like white noise. It's just not the same. So I enjoyed this better. And what I was asking for last week we got right off the bat as Jericho comes out. He's going to join the commentary desk tonight on Dynamite, and the crowd sings Judas. It was good. You could hear it. Jericho had a big smile on his face as he drank it in, man. Oh, I've been waiting all week to say that. It was good. It was awesome. I'm glad fans are back, and I'm glad AEW is taking the initiative to make sure everybody's safe. It was awesome. But let's get right into the first match. Just like last week, the show started right off the bat. There wasn't much time of dicking around. We're getting right into the Gauntlet match. So what's happening with this Gauntlet match is that they were taking the 4th and 3rd seeds. They'd have a match. Winner moved on. 2nd seed came out. 1st seed came out. So on, so on. The winner receives a tag team title match against Omega and Hangman at All Out. So there's a lot on the line here. We talked about the order in the power ranking section. There's Natural Nightmares versus the Young Bucks, and then Best Friends, and then FTR would come out. We pretty much, well, I mean, we watched this together, and I mean, we pretty much, spot for spot, damn near, as this match rolled on. I don't want to get into each individual match. I mean, that's a whole show for itself, but as a whole, this was almost the first half an hour, 40 minutes of the show. What did you think of all of it?
This is the first time that we're seeing a match of this kind on Dynamite, if not AEW as a whole. I thought all of the matches were pretty good, and if I had to pick one that wasn't my favorite, it was actually match number 3 when FTR was there. I don't know what it was. I might have to watch it again. Is it just not good chemistry with Best Friends, or did FTR have a bad night, or vice versa? I wasn't really sure, but match number 3 wasn't my favorite. I thought Best Friends Young Bucks was probably the best part of this whole Gauntlet match. And we had the biggest sort of
moment
thing happen during this match. So if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, it was probably the most important segment of the Gauntlet match. What we're alluding to is that the Young Bucks have Best Friends on the ropes, pun intended on that one. I called this while we were talking. I'm like, the Young Bucks are gonna have Best Friends dead to rights, and something's gonna happen, and Best Friends are gonna go over, because we can't see Young Bucks versus FTR yet. We need to tease that. That's got to be the slowest of slow burns. I don't want to see that until Revolution next year. That's how long I want this to wait. Needless to say, how they decided to pull this off, I was actually quite surprised. I wasn't really expecting this, but Hangman runs from the crowd or out of the backstage area. He gets down. The Young Bucks are about to hit the Meltzer driver, and Hangman grabs Nick's boot and holds on to him, and it allows Trent to roll through the tombstone position and get a quick 1-2-3 on Matt Jackson. It was, I was just sitting here. I was like, are they doing this? Is this how it's going to happen? And we've been talking for weeks about Hangman's relationship with FTR. I get it, but I don't get it. And what I mean by that is, why is if Hangman's buddies with FTR, why is he does he feel like he's protecting them from the Young Bucks? Is his motive protecting the Young Bucks from FTR? You know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
I get it, but I don't get it. I get that this is the beginning of the end of Hangman with the Elite, with Kenny, because we've been talking about how he's probably going to join FTR in this 4 Horsemen revival. Sorry, I can't say revival. Reboot.
It's another $15, man.
Man, I owe Vince so much money. But I'll run the tab up until he dies, and then I won't have to pay.
No, I get what you mean. Because if he's really in the side of FTR, then why does it matter if he faces Young Bucks? Because he thinks they're the best. Right. But him stopping the Young Bucks is just like, he doesn't think FTR could win if they face the Young Bucks.
Right.
So yeah, I get that. I never thought about that in the moment, but.
And then the other thing is that Young Bucks, say the Young Bucks go on to win against Best Friends and it's Young Bucks FTR, it doesn't matter who wins that match. He has to face them, the winner. You're the tag team champ. Like, the whole thing just kind of, someone didn't think it all the way through.
Well, I guess, does it leave it open still? Is that the idea, that we still don't really know how it's going to go?
I guess, but it's better to have the chance that Best Friends might win so that you don't have to face any of your buddies than to have a guarantee that it's going to be one of your buddies, even though it was pretty much a guarantee FTR was going to walk out over the Best Friends. But you know what I mean? Like, is that his idea? I don't know. Like I said, I get why they did it. I get that it's time for this. But someone just didn't think of all the different angles that could come out of this. And that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm thinking about all these different things, and things just don't add up. It's just like, it's like a little plot hole in a sitcom. You don't really care, but it's there.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I mentioned, FTR goes on to win the third match. Yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't one of the best. It wasn't the smoothest, but it was also quick. You didn't really have to bear through it for 20 minutes or anything like that. I think it was only like a 6 or 7 minute match, but yeah. So FTR, no commercial breaks. Well, yeah, there was one as FTR came out, but the match started.
Well, yeah,
picture in picture, right? Yeah. So FTR going on to All Out to face the champions Omega and Hangman. I'm really excited to see how that all pans out, how it all plays out. I got some thinking to do when it comes to the prediction show, but we got another week for that. Coming off this match, we get another vignette from the enigma that is Darby Allin. Kind of a quick one. There wasn't a lot of content per se. I think this was just kind of him addressing that he's going to be joining the All Out Battle Royal, if I remember correctly. What were your thoughts on the Darby Allin?
He comes out with the Starks mask. So it's kind of solidifies that, this is a true feud.
Right.
Because he always wears the mask of the guy he's feuding with.
Right.
And then there was he jumps off a bridge. So I guess that kind of shows, no fear, I'm Darby. But yeah, I think you're right. This is, he is going to be a part of the Casino Battle Royale, and those other guys will be in it as well.
Which we'll talk about it a little bit later. That pops up. Let's get right into the next matchup of the night. Again, a quick one. This is basically what we've been watching on AEW Dark. But Lance Archer getting back onto Dynamite. I think we mentioned this a couple weeks ago that it was, we're seeing the same match on Dark every week, but this guy needs to get back onto Dynamite. And here he is. Sean Maluda. Have we seen this guy before, or is this a debut? I think this is a debut. Right?
I feel like this was a debut.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate debut. I don't think it's the first debut Lance Archer has ruined, but pretty straightforward squash match here. I think if what was his name, Sean Maluda got maybe a kick or a forearm in, but that was about it. This was all Lance Archer finishing it the same way he always does with the the blackout? What's it called? Blackout? Does that sound right? I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty.
Something like that, yeah. Cold War or something.
He does the kind of the inverted razor's edge, and then gets into the claw and knocks the guy out for the 3 count. But just him playing. That's kind of been his story lately with all the jobbers. I can't really remember, but is this the first match that he didn't bring somebody out from the locker room as part of his entrance, or did he?
Yeah, now that you say that, you're right. He didn't do that, but he came to the ring. He kind of walked around the outside of the ring, and then, like, in a split second, he hit somebody who's on the other side of the guardrail there.
Right.
I don't even remember who it was because it happened so fast.
Right. Yeah. I think it was like Jungle Boy or something, maybe. I don't know. No, that's too high. That's too high. Well, I don't think it could have been Griff either, because we see him in action a little bit later. So yeah. Anyways, that's right. Yeah. He did kind of keep the motif up, I guess, as he knocks somebody out at ringside. But yeah, straightforward Lance Archer match goes over. But again, as we always say, this really wasn't about the match itself. It's about what's after the match. And as we get right into that, come out a commercial break, Jake Roberts cuts a promo. He's basically, it's that time of year, we're getting into their pay-per-view. There's a big casino battle royale. Everybody's proclaiming their spot in the battle royal. And Jake Roberts does a really good job of how he kind of promotes that Lance is going to be in the casino battle royale, and how basically it doesn't matter how it goes down. Everybody's going to go out just as fast as they come in. And we haven't talked about Lance Archer's promos in a long time, because we haven't seen it in a long time. But I just love how he's like yelling, but he's whispering, and it's through his teeth. You know, everybody dies. Like, I don't know. It's so much freaking more intense than if he was just like macho manning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think Lance he's dialed into this character, and they need to run with it. I want more Lance Archer. I want Lance Archer back in another storyline with the likes of a Cody, to get his name back out there, because I've been missing it.
Yeah, I wish Jake could wrestle. I don't think he can.
I doubt it.
But I'd like to see that as the sort of character arc is. He turns against Jake and they have a match.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, but I don't think that could happen.
He's got to get...
Jake doesn't move very well.
He's got to get 2 days in on the DDPY before that could happen.
Yeah, at least 2 days.
Because there's times where you think he might take a bump, as somebody rolls in. Somebody gets the jump on Archer and kind of attacks him, and you think he's going to, like, bump into Jake, and then Jake takes a little bump, but he never does. He just kind of shuffles out of the way really quickly.
Yeah. He did plank Brandy, though. So maybe he still has some in him. I don't know.
That's a different kind of energy. That was... If you guys don't remember what we're talking about, Jesus Christ.
I would say go watch it, but don't watch it.
Yeah, don't. But before anything can even come of this, before there's any time for a reaction that, like, everybody's going to die, Lance Archer's coming after everybody, this music hits, and I'm like, whose music is this? And then you hear FTW, and I'm like, oh my God. It was
cool music.
It was cool music, but I don't like this FTW brand shit. I don't know. I love you, Taz. I think you're an awesome commentator, but your gimmicks suck. Anyways, Brian Cage and Stark, they come waltzing out. Cage is still rocking that FTW championship like it's the freaking creme de la creme of the professional wrestling world. Taz gets on the mic, basically saying, you can talk all the shit you want to talk, but my two boys are in the Casino Battle Royal as well, and Lance isn't going to win is basically the premise of it all. It looks like things are going to come to a head, and Lance and Cage are going to butt heads, but I mean, I can't help but think Cage and Starks are saved by Darby Allin here.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah, so Darby's music hits, and he gets to do the FTR entrance from the rampway on the side. He gets the skateboard going, and I like how he just jumps off the skateboard, full sprint into the ring, and goes right after Starks, and just beats the living piss out of him. Shotgun drop kicked him out of his shoes. I haven't seen that since The Rock circa 98. Like, fuck.
And I should mention, just because you mentioned that part, is Starks awesome on Twitter goes something to the effect of, has anybody seen my shoes? Perfect touch.
Yeah.
Again, we don't really think much of Ricky Starks as a wrestler, but he's doing all the other wrestling things totally awesome.
Yeah. I mean, well, we still haven't gotten a good body of work out of Starks yet. He's only had like 2 or 3 matches, right? So I think he's the whole package. He just needs a little bit more time. He's getting used to working on TV. He's an indie guy, right? So he's running with it though. Yeah, Starks has been great. So yeah, that was a really cool segment. All the promos were good. The interrupts, and there was kind of a double swerve with Darby coming out of nowhere and taking out Starks. It was good. I like it. And then as we're cutting away to commercial break, we get a video promo package from MJF. He's still still selling the neck brace. He's working the walker. Still picking on Lee Johnson. Is that his name? I always forget. I always say Lee Morrison.
Yeah, Lee Johnson.
Yeah, Lee Johnson. He's picking on him. I could have sworn I saw a smirk out of you. He's getting into his face. But this is all leading into the next segment we'll get to in a second. But we get another little video package before that, and it's I feel bad that we didn't get to see this kind of in the ring, and I wonder why they went with this video package. I guess just because that's how Thunder Rosa was introduced to us, but I kind of wanted to see this interaction even backstage, in front of the AEW backdrop would have been better. But I mean, this works too. They kind of do this whole video package. You got guys like Shivani and Jim Ross talking about the competitors, and everybody's gassing up everybody. It was well done, and I guess that's what
Billy
it was.
Corgan.
Yeah, we got to hear Billy
Rosa.
Corgan, president of NWA. That answers our question that I had last week, is if he was still in control or not, but it looks like he is. Yeah, and basically this is a twofold kind of announcement. We get the official contract signing that at All Out it will be Shida versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW women's title. The NWA women's title is not on the line, from what I understand. And this is the second fold is the announcement that AEW and the NWA are going to be working together, which is huge news.
Yeah.
And I think that'll really help NWA stabilize a little bit, that we might get some cross-promotion action, which is great news, because the NWA, that's the oldest, I feel like that's the oldest wrestling promotion there is, and one of the most historic, and I don't think we should ever live in a world where the NWA isn't a thing, even though we don't get to watch that product because it's YouTube only and it's down in the States, but I mean, it's history, so I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, big news coming out.
I don't like this, that it's only the AEW champion that's up for grabs, because I feel like we already know what the outcome is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have went belt for belt.
Yeah,
and then we don't know what's going to happen.
This is kind of like John Cena's Open Challenge, and then Kevin Owens comes out as the NXT champion. well, yeah, he's not going to win. It's great, but he's not going to win. So I think if this goes belt for belt, it really turns it on its head a little bit. And there is a chance that, yeah, they could totally put Thunder Rosa over in that situation. And then it just gives that boost to the NWA, and then it gives something for someone else to fight for in AEW. I think it'd be cool. Right. Maybe Nyla Rose, being the number one contender, goes to NWA and brings it back. You know, that's cool.
Yeah.
But
I guess that could still happen, but
it could still happen.
I don't know.
But it wasn't going to happen the other way. You know, both belts on the line, and then Shida's the NWA champion. Like, it doesn't work that way. So
yeah, it's true.
All right, but this leads into the aforementioned next segment. It's the contract signing, the AEW World Championship contract signing, and this was very promo heavy. This was very much driven by MJF. He comes out in the walker. He's selling it. He can barely get through the ropes. Everybody's got to help him. I enjoyed all that part.
You like the tennis balls on his walker?
Yeah, he had the tennis balls under the walker. You can't scratch that hardwood floor. Hilarious. Such a nice touch. So, yeah, the premise of this all is that MJF hired this lawyer. They added in the stipulation that Moxley can't use the paradigm shift in the match, or else the title will be forfeited. And if Moxley wants this match, he has to give up the move. And that's kind of like the whole, what everything is circling around. So they get to the ring. I can't even remember. Does he talk a little bit before Moxley shows up?
Yeah, I think a little bit.
Just a little bit. And then Moxley comes out. The music hits. He's through the crowd. He's holding the contract. And JR sells it. You know, he was faxed. I think he said faxed, even though I doubt it was faxed. But
yeah, he said faxed.
the contract was sent over to Jon Moxley, and he had all afternoon to review it. And it's a very important piece of the story here. But he makes his way to the ring, and before he can even sit down, you know, MJF is right on him right away, and it's all MJF from here. I'm not going to go through all the things he said, because you can pretty much assume the way his character is. But what I did want to add is that MJF feeding off the live crowd. You know, the crowd was getting into it. They were booing him, and MJF lives on interacting with the crowd. That's where he gets all his heat. And I think that's what he's been missing, and it looked like he was really enjoying himself out there. What did you think of the crowd comments and him acknowledging the crowd?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's what he's been missing, and it's probably why we've seen more video packages rather than kind of live promos. Yeah, you're right. I think he was loving it, and the fans were loving it, and they were loving booing him. And his part of all of this was like really well done.
Yeah, for sure. Basically calling Jon Moxley, you know, you're crazy and whatnot, and you're good at what you do, but what I do is I professional wrestle. I'm a wrestler, and you're not. And when it comes to a one-on-one match in the ring, you can't hang with me. And not to get into everything that's said, the punchline of the segment is that Moxley added an amendment or an added page. And I should mention that, like, as soon as Moxley sat down, MJF signs the contract. And then he goes off on him, right? And they're just waiting for John to sign, and that's where he's badgering him. So finally Moxley signs the paper, hands it back to him, and the whole punchline of the segment is that, you know, you should really read stuff before you sign it, because I added in a page, and it says next week on Dynamite, which will be Wednesday, September 2nd, I get a tune-up match against the lawyer, Mark Sterling. Now everybody's freaking out. Mark sold that so well. Like, he was like flipping through the pages, like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. And then, paradigm shift is legal in this match. So I like the whole thing.
And there's a stipulation in there that if the lawyer doesn't show up,
right,
MGF will lose his opportunity to face him at All Out,
which is a very important stipulation, because without it, then you just get the no-show, right? So very important that this tune-up match actually happens. And I mean, I said it last week when we saw Mark, the Sterling guy off the beginning. I mean, no lawyer in the history of law has ever been that jacked. I mean, I'm sure there's a jack lawyer out there somewhere, but I mean, this guy, like, he looks like a wrestler, and we're gonna see that he's a wrestler. So, this is good stuff coming out of Moxley and MJF. I'm really looking forward to this match and how it goes. And another one to think about when it comes to the prediction show next week. I'm getting really excited about all this stuff. Let's keep the show rolling. We get an 8-man tag. We got the Jersey Boys, Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, going up against the new Hollywood Blondes, as I've called them. And that's Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. They're going up against... What did we get a name for these guys yet? This new faction, but it's,
I don't think so, not yet.
The Lucha Brothers, Butcher and the Blade, with Eddie Kingston. They're kind of self-appointed leader in a way.
It's not really a valet. He's more like a like a leader.
Yeah, he's the one who kind of brought them all back together. He's kind of keeping them under control. And then during this match, we get kind of like the old school picture-in-picture promo while the match is going on. Haven't seen that in ages. Love it. He's basically talking about how he's going to help these guys reach to championship glory, but only because it'll lead him to championship glory. And he gives us the wink again, like he did last week after everybody's hugging. He kind of breaks the fourth wall and looks to the hard camera and winks. So he's got something up his sleeve, and I'm not convinced that he has these guys' best intentions in mind or whatever. But it'll be interesting to see how this whole relationship plays out. It's a good fit for Eddie and his character. I like his role in this, and hopefully we'll get to see him wrestle with these guys. Please not in 10-man tags, but maybe him and Blade, or maybe him and Ray, something like that. But what'd you think of this match for an 8-man tag?
I didn't think that this one was the best, but it had some good moments in it, and we've been gassing up Brian Pillman Jr. Mm-hmm. Another really, really solid match from him. Really liked the stuff that he did. Probably the biggest spot in this whole one was the package pile driver on the apron by Pentagon on Joey Janela. I think this had us both dropping our jaw. Just a crazy spot. It looked nasty. Like, it looked like he really hit his head on this one. What'd you think about this spot?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. When it happened, I just had flashbacks to SummerSlam 97. Owen Hart, Steve Austin. And just as he's going down for that pile driver, you just see the dome of his head underneath the legs. You're like, this isn't gonna turn out. And it was very similar. I'm sure he was fine, because I mean, he didn't show any signs of being like, Austin was fucked up after that. But it did look nasty. It looked like he may have crowned himself there a little bit. But Joey likes that stuff, so he wants to die in the ring, right? So yeah, it was a crazy spot. Another one of the spots that make me cringe every time he does it, but fuck, does it look good, is when Joey does that like snap Death Valley driver to the apron, where he like jumps off the apron and then DVDs a guy. That always makes me squirm a little bit. It's crazy. He pulled it off nicely. I think he does it on Ray. But yeah, I mean, you know me in multi-man tag matches. The 8-man tags, they're never really spectacular. There's always a little too much going on. But this one was solidly done. Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. getting some airtime on TV. They're not just on Dark. I think they've proved themselves in the first few matches that they had on Dark, and they deserve this spotlight to see how the TV crowd, because I believe the TV crowd is a different audience than the Dark crowd, the YouTube crowd. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how that impacts their future at the company, and maybe we'll get to see more of them. Maybe they'll get a push, who knows?
Yeah. And Brian Pillman was one of those guys that tweeted about his position on that top 500, and he had a significant jump. I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but
yeah. At the magazine, it's beside me. But I'd have to say that he was in the 200s, maybe 300s last year. And if he was up in the hundreds, I
want to say 140 comes to mind, but
right, yeah, that's what I would think. It was just out of the 100, but a definite significant jump, and that's just all because of exposure. Ever since AEW started, he did Double or Nothing in the Casino Battle Royal, and he was caught backstage at All Out when Jericho wins the championship. Jericho calls out to him, tells him to go get a haircut and whatnot. So yeah, exposure. It was good stuff. A decent match, like I said, but nothing spectacular. Let's move on. Let's get into the next segment of the night. This is a big one. This is the one they were kind of hinting at on BTE. This is the Brody Lee celebration for winning the TNT Championship last week on Dynamite. They went all out for this. I shouldn't say they went all out, but they had the lawnmowers. They had the Mustang that wasn't a Shelby sitting in the parking lot. They kind of had everything that they had talked about. And it starts off with the Dark Order carrying out this coffin, which I thought was interesting. It was almost taking a couple shots at Vanilla Brand in a way. I felt there, the Undertaker comparison maybe, but I saw a lot of memes where it's them walking out and it's WWE is the coffin, and because AEW is killing WWE. I thought that was clever, but
right.
That has nothing to do with the show. That's just me.
I was really confused by the coffin. I didn't quite get it.
Right, and I mean they try to explain their way out of it. Uno gets on the mic and he's talking about Cody's. I don't know if they say that he's dead, but he's not here anymore. He's not on TV. They open up the casket. It looks like Cody, but it's 10. He's got the American Nightmare over his head, the jacket over his head. And then it's revealed, it's just 10. And then he's got the neck tattooed, fucking stickered on his neck, and it's all a joke. And this is where they kind of call out to Brody Lee, the new TNT champion. Brody Lee comes out. They all gather in the ring. Brody calls Tony Schiavone over to get an interview, and I'm interested to see what your thoughts on Brody Lee's promo style in the last two times we've seen him after the match last week and now. It's a lot different than we've seen from the Exalted One lately, and it's very much different than we've ever seen him in the Vanilla Brand. Not that he ever got to talk in the Vanilla Brand. So what are your thoughts on Brody Lee's promo styles? Because it's different.
This is where I feel like the shots to WWE are. Mm-hmm. If you really analyze the words, and I wish I had them written down, but he uses a lot of you people are what, held me down or held me back. It's your kind of people. And he's talking to Tony, right? So I feel like that's a shot at, Vince and, maybe some of the commentators that could be part of creative or make, decisions or whatever. Yeah, it was a very vicious, almost shoot, really, kind of background to it all. Yeah, I thought it was different, appropriate. I'm not sure, but yeah, his character is already changing.
Yeah, I mean, the Brody Lee character up till now has been a shot at Vince. I mean, I think we've provided evidence on many different occasions that this was the case. And I wonder if, like, okay, now that that's established, let's take this character to a different place. Because now it's me, is what Brody's saying. We had our fun. This was the Vince thing. But now that that's out of our system, let's take this character over here and see what we can do with it. I wonder if that's a part of what's going on here. Right. It should be noted that all of Dark Order was out in the ring. Anna Jay comes out with Brody Lee, which is interesting. Colt Cabana was kind of already out there. He was wearing Alex Marvez's blazer.
Borrowed his jacket.
His jacket. He just had the plain black blazer with the giant AEW logo on the breast pocket there, and yeah, we had some fun joking about that. But Brody Lee,
you know what? He did a really good job here.
He did. I went back and watched
people
it.
might not have noticed this, but he had this very aloof sort of look on his face, just kind of smiling, this is just, it's just a party. It's just going to be a celebration, nothing, no big deal. And then as the Brody Lee promo is going on, his face is starting to change. Like, he's like, I thought this was just like Cub Scouts or something. Like, this is getting a little bit too serious kind of thing. So there was sort of an underlying story with this whole bit. Yeah. I went back
and watched it, and I kind of just watched Colt the whole time. And that's very much the case. Like, he starts off and he's just kind of like smiling and he's laughing with the guys as they're making their Cody jokes, and he's like, okay, well, that's funny. Yeah. Okay. And then they get down into the ring, and then as Brody Lee's promo's going on, you kind of see his expression change. And then it really turns when Brody announces the newest official member of the Dark Order, and like he kind of like starts to brighten up again, and then he says Anna Jay, and then his mood changes. He's like, oh, because I think he thought it was him. Yeah. There's like this, like he brightens up and then he goes back down. And he's confused again because, I think maybe he was trying to sell the fact that he thought maybe it was him. He was finally going to be in the Dark Order for real.
Right.
And then all hell breaks loose. The Dark Order kind of, Tony, I'm sick of you. They kick him out of the ring. This is where Dustin comes out and tries to interrupt. Dark Order jumps on him. QT Marshall comes out, still selling the from the match before. He's running out, his neck's a little sore or whatever, and he gets jumped. And this whole time, while Dark Order is pummeling the Natural Nightmares, Colt Cabana is on the side of the apron just wondering, like, what are these guys doing? Like, they are pure attacking these guys. And it should, I mentioned it to you, like, usually Brody Lee sends Colt out before they do this shit. This is the first time Colt is seeing this, kayfabe, right? So they're starting to shift the direction of where this Dark Order storyline's going, and I'm really enjoying it. It's amazing. It's amazing to think about where Dark Order was when Evil Uno and Stu Grayson debuted at Double or Nothing, to now, how far it's come, how much it's changed, how many times it's changed, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a roller coaster, right? Because we were just like, who the F are these guys? And then we figured it out, and we had the vignettes with the evangelists, and those were so cool. And
they need to bring
hashtag join Dark Order. And then Brody Lee shows up, and it was kind of slow. It's like he didn't hit his stride, and now he's there. Like you can tell he's feeling it.
Yeah.
And it's good again. Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Scorpio Sky comes out to help Natural Nightmares out. This is where Dark Order kind of clears out a little bit. And there's a moment where it's just Scorpio and Brody are the only ones standing in the ring. And there's a little bit of an acknowledgement there. And so I can't help but feel like we're going to see Brody Lee versus Scorpio Sky TNT Championship match. Scorpio Sky going to get another title shot right away. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Are we thinking all out?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens next week, because we're getting an 8-man tag next week with Scorpio Sky, Matt Cardona, because Matt Cardona comes out as well. We know he's best buddies with Cody. And the Natural Nightmares versus Dark Order, which I can only assume is going to be Uno, Grayson, Reynolds, and Silver, maybe. Maybe Alan Angels and 10. We haven't seen 10 in a while. Seems like his arm.
10 seems to be like he's back, eh? He had a big part in all of this brawling.
He's not wearing the sling anymore. So yeah, we'll see what version of Dark Order we're gonna get in this 8-man tag. But yeah, I think very possibly. I feel like the TNT Championship has to be defended all out. But maybe that's part of the TNT Championship, is that it's only defended on TNT. Which would be disappointing, but I mean, we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We should also note here that when Anna Jay is announced that she's the newest member, she gets a number. And her number is 99.
Yeah. So I
she's
caught
the great one.
I caught that, but I didn't go that she was member 99. I thought she was like 99 overall, like the best you could be, because she's the show stealer. So yeah, I totally missed that.
I actually rewatched it, and they say Anna Jay, she is 99. Right. She is the great one. I guess because she's the greatest show on earth.
Right.
Yeah.
So Brody Lee's an Oilers fan.
Maybe.
Right? Gretzky didn't do anything. No, Gretzky didn't do anything after the Oilers.
Wow, that's another podcast.
For another time.
You played for St. Louis, right?
Nope. No, just kidding. All right. So yeah, good stuff coming from the Dark Order. Excited to see what they're all gonna do coming up forward. I'm super pumped on the Dark Order. BTE, Dynamite, it's all gold. Let's move on. Let's move on to it got me all flustered now. I don't know what to think.
Sorry, man.
Let's move on to the next segment. We had a backstage interview with Hangman. You know, basically trying to get some answers out of him, but before he can even answer, Young Bucks barge in through the door, and I mean, Oscar worthy might be a stretch, but definitely worthy of an Emmy. Best soliloquy by Matt Jackson. Holy shit, man. He acted the shit out of this to break some kayfabe a little bit. Like, he was into this. Call it a promo. Just call it what you want to call it. It was emotional. He had you into it. It was very much Cody. I feel like Cody was coaching him, because Cody's really good at these kind of things, right?
Right.
Yeah, Matt Jackson, he knocked it out of the park, to bring back a catchphrase I haven't said in 2 months. He knocked it out of the park. I loved it. What did you think of this whole situation, and elaborate a little bit more on it?
Yeah, I agree with you. Matt really really shone in this one. Some of sort of the highlights of what he was saying is, they were kind of shocked that he did all of this. All they wanted was to be friends with Hangman, and now it seems like he's with FTR. They said, this is a long time coming, but you're nothing but a drunk. And Matt throws the whiskey in right in his face, and the segment kind of ends with Matt saying, "You know what, man? You're out of the elite."
Yeah, it's big.
And they slam the door, and Hangman just is, he looked kind of shocked, I feel.
Yeah, I like the where this emotional outburst from the Young Bucks comes from, because I don't think they say it in the exact words, but they kind of come from the fact, like, we knew something was up with you, but we gave you the benefit of the doubt. We just let you work through what you were going through. But really, all we wanted to be was your friend. And I like Nick's line. He's like, I may have called you a jobber all those years ago, but tonight you proved to us that that's all you are. You jobbed out tonight. And I think all that was missing is calling him a stooge. I think they should have threw the stooge line in there. Just a little bit of a callback to old BTE episodes. But very, very emotional outburst from the Young Bucks. And like you said, that exclamation point, "You're out of the elite." And they slammed the door, slammed it a little too hard. You could totally tell they had this camera shot planned out so that when the door closes and then there's Hangman in a mirror looking all sad, but that door slammed and you hear the glass crack, and then it just is one of those happy accidents. Man, that it made it look good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's
going to be interesting next week. I'm guessing we're going to hear at some point Kenny reaction on this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we didn't even see Kenny on the show tonight, so
right.
Yeah, we'll see what Kenny has to say on the Go Home show. This is basically next week's the Go Home show into All Out, so we'll get all our stories tied up and we'll know exactly what matches we got going into All Out. But it's getting good. I like it. Let's move on to a quick match. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but this was Big Swole, her opportunity to get at Britt Baker, but it was kind of hidden in veil to that this was Britt Baker's match to make a stipulation to. She basically turns it into a handicap match. I figured it was going to be a 3-on-1, but in hindsight, after the match, you kind of see where they were going with this. Essentially, it's going to be Big Swole versus Reba and Penelope Ford. If Swole can win this handicap match, she will get an actual match with Britt Baker. And it sounded like that'll be at All Out.
And I think even more is she gets to name a stipulation for the All Out match.
So kind of what Britt had with this one. In a way.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
So I'm thinking next week that's what we're going to see is
Swole's,
what the stipulation is.
Swole's going to come out and announce it. I loved Britt during this match. She was really selling that she's still confined to this wheelchair. There was a moment where Penelope had Swole on the ropes and she's freaking jabbing her with the end of the crutch. I thought that was a good
she's
spot.
got the Bill Lambier mask going on.
Yeah, right. Still wearing. She's got that.
Awesome.
She's rocking that MJ-esque basketball jersey shirt that she's got going on.
Yeah,
just
I
playing,
like it.
Yeah, playing off that.
I'll get my wife one of those.
That line that she says in the show that one time where she compares herself to Michael Jordan making a comeback. Yeah, we won't get into all that because that's over with. But I like it. It wasn't the greatest match. What did you think of Reba or Rebel in this match? I made the comment while we were watching that she does a really good job hiding the fact that she doesn't know how to wrestle. Or did I say that right? She does a really good job at hiding the fact that she does know how to wrestle.
Right.
Like she does a really good job of looking like a jobber until she goes and does this freaking crazy moonsault. Like that moonsault is so clean. Like, I mean, I know you're a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, but how many Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are jumping off the barricade doing a moonsault onto the ground? You know what I mean? So yeah, what did you think of Reba? Like, I think she's playing this character really, really well.
Yeah, I thought you were right when you said it during the show. It's like she knows what moves she should be doing, but she's getting on the ropes and she's all shaky, and I think she even put her hand out to try to get Penelope forward to like help her up, and it's looking real good, and I mean it made the match what the match needed to be.
Right.
With that.
A subtle little thing is when Reba's in the match, Penelope's reaching out for a tag. Reba goes to turn around to tag Penelope, and Penelope's like, "What are you doing? You go get her and bring her back to the corner, and then you tag." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So she goes back. It just made it look like, yeah, she didn't know what wrestling was at a point, but I mean, she's working her punches and she's selling, and yeah, she sells better than Pat did. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, she knows what she's doing, but she does a really good job at hiding it, and you can see it. Big props. So yeah, let's look forward to next week. Big Swole goes over in this match. I liked the finish where there was like the distraction to lead into the distraction, but it fails. Big Swole gets the roll up and the win. So we'll see next week what Swole decides to do with her power leading into this match at All Out against Britt Baker. Yeah. Yep. And then as this match ends, Dark Order comes back out. We get Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, and Anna Jay. And I don't know if you noticed it during while Dark Order was still up on the ramp over the coffin, Evil Uno had that kind of binder with him.
Right, yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. So he brings that out. Yeah, so he had that. He brings it out. You could still see Britt Baker and Penelope. They were kind of leaving the ramp area at this time. And yeah, the commentators really sold this for me. They're like, what are they doing back out here? Haven't they done enough and all this stuff? And they make their way to the barricade, the ringside area. And I never noticed throughout that whole show that Tay Conti, maybe she wasn't there, but Tay Conti sitting.
I think we would have noticed.
But she was there at this moment. Tay Conti sitting at ringside. And basically, Evil Uno has a join the Dark Order pamphlet, what to do, package, contract signing, like whatever you want to call it, and hands it to Tay. And Anna Jay's there. We know from the tag team tournament that they did really well working together in the tag team tournament. Their social media, they've been talking about how they're all best friends and how they're loving each other and they loved working with each other. So Anna Jay's there, and Anna Jay's like full Dark Order now. I like it. And she's just like, you need to take this. You need to take it. Because Tay's selling it like, oh, should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? And then Anna's there to say, take it. So does that make... Like, if Tay joins, she has to be 11, right?
Why 11?
Messier? It's not going to be Robitaille. Come on, figure it out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just shocked Brody Lee's an Oilers fan. I'm not recovering from that, okay?
I mean, he grew up in New York. Maybe he was a Rangers fan.
Right.
And Tay Conte will be 68. Yager. Did they play together? I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, it's good stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. I guess we're yet to see a decision. I haven't seen anything on social media if she's made a decision yet. I'm sure they'll save that for TV. But, yeah, exciting stuff, man. Dark Order's growing.
Yeah, and I have to retract one of my statements. And I think it was like 2 episodes ago. I didn't think these girls were quite friends.
Right.
But it turns out they are. So I was wrong. I apologize.
Hey, thanks for being honest.
I like 11 and 99, my 2 favorite numbers now.
Good stuff. All right. As we come back from commercial break, there's a lot of commercials. I can't remember where all the breaks were in this one, but we get Sammy Guevara comes out, and we're going to get the cue card, picture in picture. Run us through what we had this time with Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God.
All right, I'll just read off the cards as they came. So the first one said broken spirits, and then the next one said nope. Explanation mark. Then it was broken Sammy question mark, and then it said not a chance, and then it said broken Matt, and then it said stand by. And then it said, prepare to witness, ... the breaking of a legend, Matt Hardy.
It's interesting word choice there, breaking of a legend.
Yeah. You can't delete a Spanish god. And then it said, hit ... me ... up ... and there was a little drawing of a broken table. And this last one, he rips up perfectly in half and kind of shows that broken table to the camera.
Right, because this upcoming main event that we're about to talk about is a tables match. First one to put your opponent through a table wins the match. Let's get right into that segment of the show. Sammy Guevara, Matt Hardy, tables match. This is a payoff that we've been waiting for many, many months now. It feels like this has been 4 months in the making. We were supposed to see this match leading up to the Blood and Guts show that we never got to. Remember, it was
this is like Matt Hardy's 2 weeks into the company.
Yeah.
He should have been doing this
because he was kind of feuding with Jericho, but then something changed there where it was going to be Sammy. They were going to go with Sammy. And then, Blood and Guts didn't happen. We turned it into the Stadium Stampede. And then Sammy gets suspended for a month and a half. And then finally it comes back. We get the chair shot. You guys know the story. I feel like they didn't have enough time to make this match really good. This match was good, and I liked the spots that they chose and how it all flowed. But if they could have extended this match to 15 minutes instead of like the 10 that they had after entrances, and allowed for, they needed to leave some time for what happens after the match. If they could have had a little bit more time, I think this match could have been really good. But
yeah, I agree with you. I can only imagine that maybe the Dark Order segment maybe cut into their time. I'm sure the Gauntlet match was planned that way, but
yeah,
I feel like that Brody celebration probably ate up some of their time.
You know what? The contract presentation to Conti could have been picture in picture. That could have just happened, and you needed to be paying attention to see that. And then you could have had 3-4 more minutes going for this match. But it was a really good match, and I liked all the spots they did. I liked that you don't really see this in vanilla brand tables matches, but Sammy put himself through a table, and then later on Matt Hardy put himself through a table. You don't really see that. And, Aubrey, credit to Aubrey, she was calling the match like, no, that doesn't count. The commentators are selling it on commentary. You have to offensively put your opponent through a table for the match to end. My only complaint with this, and I think it was because it was time constricted, I think Aubrey might have gotten their ears, you guys are running out of time. But the finish was just weak. We got that kind of the tease. Matt brings out the table that says deleted on it. I called it right away. I was like, well, that's the finish. That's the finish table, right? There's the tease as he's climbing up to the ropes. He's going to superplex Sammy. There's a reversal, and then this is where it kind of just falls apart. All of a sudden, Sammy's got Matt reversed, and the match is over. I was just a little disappointed with how fast they went into that finish. But again, with more time, I think it could have been great. What were your kind of overall thoughts of everything?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. I think that Aubrey probably gave them the message that they're running out of time and they had to cut some things. And, it didn't look bad, but it just looked very sort of abrupt and...
It was rushed, yeah.
Yeah. We should mention that the table that ends the match has deleted spray painted on it. I thought that was a good touch. Both competitors were busted open. Sammy being really busted open.
Yeah, so
in this one,
when he put himself through that table in the ringside, all of a sudden, in that shaved area of his head, he was just gashed and gushing blood. And I'm like, did he go head first through that table? Like, how did this happen? Do you think he gigged or was this hard way?
I saw a picture of it after. I think Aubrey posted a picture of them in the hallway in the back, and it looked like a pretty clean cut to me. So I want to think that he did it, but yeah, who knows?
Good for him. It's probably the first.
I'll watch his next vlog. I'm sure he'll talk about it.
He's practicing. Yeah, so as always, as it is with AEW, it's all about after the match. Though we had 2 full hours at this point of Jericho on commentary, and it wouldn't be an all-out pay-per-view match storyline if something didn't happen with Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Sure enough, after the match is over, Orange Cassidy's music hits, and all of a sudden you see he goes sprinting across the screen, and Jericho and Tony fucking sell this. They're like, he's coming right for us. Like, I don't think they said that, but they were like super, and the cameras get up to the stage.
He's Stan's uncle or
Jimbo. And the brawl ensues, and I gotta feel bad for Sammy and all this, because he's really trying to get involved in this pull apart to help Jericho out, but the refs were just not having it. And all of a sudden, Sammy's on the ground selling, and I'm like, did Bryce Remsburg knock him out? Like, I want to see the alternate angle, because at first he's trying to pull Orange Cassidy, 3 refs grab him, he goes off camera. The next time the camera pans over, he's down on the ground selling. You got to think that they took him and they're like, okay, you need to not be a part of this. Like, I think he was kind of going rogue a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was very weird when we were watching it. I even mentioned it. I'm like, Sammy's there, and then all of a sudden he's not there. Like, did he just walk off the stage? And then we see later that he's selling on the ground. But like, what's he selling for? Like,
that's what I don't
get. In the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But I
weird.
totally noticed 3 refs kind of, maul him and get him off camera. And then, the next time you see him, he's selling like he got hit. I was like, what happened? I did Best Friends and Proud and Powerful get involved in this? Were they out there at all? I can't remember.
No, like it was, it kind of went back and forth. Orange had the upper hand, and Chris came back. They were even split up for one point, and then,
Jericho
Chris ran
breaks
back.
Free, breaks free.
Yeah, and it kind of ends with like Orange was full mount. Like he was, I don't know if he was doing elbows, but he was definitely sitting on top.
Getting the ground and pound in there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, we saw this. This is a very similar build-up to the match we had before. You know, they did the brawl. They went up. Orange Cassidy gets the big jump off the stairs. There was the camera shot. You know, like, we've seen this brawl before, so this is nothing new. But, I mean, don't fix what ain't broke. Like, this is working, and, we're really making... as stupid as a gimmick match of the Mimosa Mayhem is, I'm excited. I want to see these guys.
It could be done a few different ways, right? So let's see how they decide to do it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, that was Dynamite. Is big. There's a lot of progression in this. There was a lot packed in to this 2 hours of show. Some great matches. Like I said, lots of progression in the storylines. It was a big deal. But the biggest news is Brody Lee celebrating. He's got a character shift going. Tay Conti in or out of the Dark Order, yet to be seen. Orange Cassidy and Jericho, Moxley and MJF. Getting really excited. I can't wait for this go home show going into All Out next week.
Yeah, and this pay-per-view, it's going to be good.
Yeah, so we should mention just a little bit of, what do they call it? Like house cleaning? Is that what you call it when you kind of wrap up some details of the meeting? So next week, Wednesday, September 2nd, we are going to have Dynamite. Dynamite back on Wednesday. It's going to be, we're going to have a busy week. So we got to do Dynamite, Dark, BTE, our regular old show, sometime Thursday or Friday. We got an all-out review prediction show that'll probably come out Friday. And then we'll have all-out Saturday night and a review of that show Sunday or Monday. And then we'll get back into the regular swing of things. But it's a big week of wrestling next week, and we're going to be busy. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit that notification bell because we got a lot of episodes coming out in the next couple weeks. Leave it in the comments below. Do you want us to do a comprehensive run-through of the top 20, the top 30, the top 50, the top 100 of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated top 500 list? I think that'd be really cool content, but we'll only do it if you guys want to see it. And get ready for an awesome week. It's all out season. It's the anniversary of AEW in a way. I always think Allin is that's the start date. So Labor Day weekend, big news, big stuff coming.
Did you have something to say to Jason Corvette there?
Yeah, go fuck yourself, buddy. I'm sick of you. Figure it out. Peace.
Peace.